All right. We are live. And with that, as I said before, you've seen me. You have not seen my father because he is away today. Somebody had he did a funeral in California. So he will be back, but he won't be back in time for church. And if it's 7 o'clock on a Saturday evening, we're here. All right, all right. Well, let me say a quick prayer. Father God, thank you for this day. Thank you for this season. Thank you for all hearts here, Lord, and all hearts listening. We pray that you give us words to say and ears to hear, Lord, in Jesus' name. Amen. Well, I should say ears to be, hearts to be receptive because our ears do hear. Right? Whatever. The mind of a lawyer and a literalist. Sometimes I'm like, all I hear is literal stuff. So now, I say this to you. It's called Moving Forward. That is the title. I wrestle with the titles of my sermons, whatever you want to call these, sermonettes. Also called How He's Done It. I had a bunch of them. None of them ever. I would have been a horrible musician because I could never have named an album. You know, just be like, I just called it the first one, the second one. This should be my 23rd sermon. That's what it is. That's what this one is called. We're at the end of the year and the beginning. You're ready to start a new year. I will tell you, tomorrow, I will be 60 years of age. And I am tripping right now because 60 was always a ways away. I didn't realize it was like right up on me, like right now. Like, it's like, hey, I'm like, yeah, when I get to be 60 and I'm one of them old men, and now I'm like, wait, Jesus, I'm right up on you. Yeah, my granddaughter told me the other day, we was looking at something and it was like, it was called, it was a new TV show on Netflix with the guy, Rowan Atkinson plays Mr. Bean. And it's called Man versus Baby. Well, she saw him and she goes, that shouldn't be called Man versus Baby. That should be called Old Man versus Baby. And then she looked at me like, if you were in it. And I'm like, okay, first of all, you don't have to stay in the house. But she keeps throwing the little old comments out there, I was once told I was super old. She goes, well, Daddy's older, but you're super old. And I'm like, you know how to break a man down. And I'm not vain. I always wanted to be older. You know what I'm saying? As a kid, you look forward to being older. You just look forward to, you idolize being, want to be a man. But Jesus, 60. I'm like, man, this is different. I now watch TV shows, and Suzette will tell you, I actually Google the actors and be like, what year were they born? So at the time that this was being filmed, when you watch The Jeffersons and you realize you're older than George and Wheezy, that just hurts you, man. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm older than Fred G. Sanford right now. I'm just throwing that out there. Just y'all just think on those things and pray my strength in the Lord is all I'm saying. But anyhow, welcome then. But it brings you right to, somebody said they were right here with me. So it brings you right to how I got to the topic, moving forward, how he's done it. I talked to a friend the other day and he said a phrase to me, and it's a phrase as you get older, you oftentimes think, and this is not a middle age or old age. I'm saying middle age because 60 is the new 40. So whatever. And I'm going to shave all this gray beard. Yeah. But, the point that I was making is that it is not one of those, but he said a phrase because we all kind of begin to spiral down. Well, I don't know we all, but I certainly know I definitely went to the edge of the precipice and looked over, where you say to yourself, looking back on life now, is this all? Am I where I thought I would be in life at this point in time? And that is a question that is fraught with danger, because invariably you're probably going to say no. I mean, if you competed in the Olympics and you worked your whole life so that by the age of 23 or 24, you've got the gold medal, but you age out of that. So your every waking moment was, if you will, was committed to that. But once you get over the hill, if you were, a ripe old age of 28, back when you first started going, ooh, this hurts. And then you get to be 45 and 50 and you're like former Olympic champion. is this all I thought my life would be? That I would have capped out at 23? I mean, I was a lawyer. I had passed the bar exam when I was 24. I was a authorized capable practicing lawyer. Got my first job. I've been doing this a long time, 35, 36 years. I've been doing this a while. But my friend's life has been a little bit different path. But he said, "Is this?" I just wondered, "Is this? I'm not where I thought I'd be in life." And Suzette and I talked to him on the way over here to the house. But I said, "Man, I've had those same thoughts. Is this where I thought I'd be in life?" Honestly, no. I mean, I'm just gonna be real. Did you think you'd be where you? I mean, the stuff you do, like I won't be doing this, and yet you're still there. What I thought about it is no time to wallow, because how could I? The thought of where I would be in life is a bit presumptuous on my part and on all of our parts. You know what I mean? Like, what did you know about life when you first thought where you wanted to be in life? You understand? I didn't know enough about life to say where I need to be. I'm sure if you asked me when I was, I remember clients, when I would talk to them, maybe this one lady, I asked this one kid, where'd you want to be when he was older? He was charged with crime. I said, where'd you want to be when you grew up? And he said, a fire truck. And I said, you mean a fireman? And his mother said, no, he meant a fire truck. He wanted to be a fire truck. He rolled around making fire truck noises, stopped. He did all of that. He wanted to be a fire truck. So think about that. If that boy actually grew up to be that he cannot be, which is a fire truck. Now you get to be in your teens. What do you want to be? I want to be, and you throw out whatever. I want to be a rapper, a singer, a dancer, or whatever. But then you realize, no, that's not what you wanted to be. You weren't that good of a singer. That's one thing I love about watching American Idol and all of those shows where they have the tryouts. And especially the voice, they'll give they do like a little vignette for the person, and they'll show them singing and how much they've been singing, and this is their life's dream. And then they don't get it. And I would think, man, I feel bad for them. But then I realized that's what they wanted to do. And I know someone who wanted to be certain things. They wanted to be, but I know this person. And I said to myself, if you had, well, I didn't say it to them because it wasn't the time to say it. But if you got everything that you wanted to have in your life and you were now where you thought you would have been, number one, your life would be miserable. I know it'd be a shambles. It would be horrible because you wanted it for so many of the wrong reasons that I would have been different. No, you wouldn't. Everybody that says they want it doesn't get it. Lottery members go broke. Lottery winners go broke. If I got money, I do this. If I won this, why are you broke? Because they never knew how to be and how to live that life that they dreamt for. So a lot of times we have an aspiration toward it. So when you sit here and you say, my life is not where I thought it would be, I think we should not be that hard on ourselves because we really didn't know enough about life in general to pick a destination. Like, did I pick lawyer at 7, 12? No. Hey, when I was in college, I was a French major at one point because they convinced me that with French I could rule the world. Yeah, I'd be in business, I'd be all these things. My friends mocked me so bad, I became an undeclared major because it was merciless. And I thank the Lord for putting them in my life at that time to get me being a French major. But lo and behold, I was a history major and I ended up, and I wanted to be a doctor, but I was horrible in math. Horrible. I'm to this day horrible in math, but I am good in science. Explain those two things. They make no sense because you use math in science and you give me math in science and I can do it, but you give me straight math and I am done. Pitiful. So I can't sit there and question where I am in life. But what I think where you are is where you should be. And the reason I say where you are is where you should be is because when you get to the point when you get to start asking yourself the questions about, like, is this what I wanted my life to be like? Well, now engage in some real reflective thought about what your life is like. Engage in that real reflective thought. Like, hey, I wanted to be what you wanted to be with a particular person. All right. Well, how's that thing working out? Well, the person you wanted to be with wasn't someone that was a good person or a person that was worth being with. I've seen people situations like that. Some folks aren't good in marriage. I wanted to marry that person. And it's like, yeah, and that person, the person who married that person doesn't want to be married to that person anymore. They are miserable with that person. I wanted to live in this neighborhood. Why? You know, that their towns, neighborhoods going bust. You know, you would sink your life savings to get into it. Can you imagine living in a neighborhood and you want to get there and then suddenly, you know, the economy goes bad and everything kind of becomes like a slum and evacuate. You just there. Like I sunk everything in there. They got houses in Florida that are underwater. There's crisis in Florida and I think in Texas. People thought they moved to the new Mecca. No, bloom where you're planted. All I'm saying to you is that where you are, even with all the troubles, is where you need to be. And I want to point out to you Jonah, because Jonah was given a mission in life. And it wasn't necessarily a mission he wanted to go to Nineveh and tell them whatever. I don't think he was really feeling the Ninevians anyway, but whatever. He went there and he ran, you know the story. But ultimately, he gives there and gives them the word, and they turn it around. They turn it around. And he's like, wait a minute. This is not how I wanted this to go. I done been thrown off a boat. I done been out here. I'm now out in front of the gates. I'm living like a recluse, and they're not gonna die. We're not destroying it. This is like this. This was sort of I was looking forward to this, if you will. And he was miserable, and he argued with God. In fact, it says he wanted to die. He was not in life where he wanted to be. Even when the Lord sent, what is that, gourd, I think is what it was, a plant that grew up over it to provide him shade. He was miserable in the shade. He was miserable when there was no shade. He was a miserable person because he wasn't where he thought he should be in life, but he was where he was supposed to be in life. And the only point I'm making to you is that it's not about denying yourself and saying, I'm sacrificing for the gospel. I'm not suggesting that is a lifestyle that we should live. I'm simply saying that sometimes we have to take a moment and ask ourselves, where exactly are we? Like, I'm not where I want to know, but where are you? In this instance, you are a messenger of God who went to people, in the Jonah example, you went to a people to tell them their time on this planet was coming to an end effectively. God is going to punish you. They turn it around. All of these people are living. They owe their lives to you because however you delivered the word or whatever you said or whatever they heard about God and then looked at you and said, this man knows. Whatever, they turned it around. You did all of that. God spoke to you. He's talking to you right there out in front of the gates as you're lamenting. You're having this argument with God. The creator of the universe is taking the time to talk with you. And you are like, I'm not where I want to be in life. No, you better take a look around and see where you are and see whose company you're in, because you're going to realize that you're in the greatest company you could be. And I don't mean my company, because I'm probably not the best person for you to be with, but well, except for my wife, I trapped her, but she's stuck now. I got my name on too many things, but all I'm saying is take a moment to realize where you actually are, and don't look at it from the perspective of I'm not where I wanted to be. Look at where you actually are and what's going on. If God is talking to you, that's a great, where are you at? I'm somewhere God is talking to me. Well, then you're in a fantastic place. You know, where are you? I'm amongst people. I said some things to people, and this is what happened. I came over here to give them some bad news, and then what happened? And they listened to me. And what happened? And they turned it around, and so you're angry about that? I mean, you got to realize if people are hearing your voice, if you are having influence on people, even if it's an influence in a place and amongst the people you didn't want to be, having an influence you didn't want to have, but nonetheless, they have esteemed you to that level. You're somewhere you wanted to be. Take a moment. You mean something to some people. You mean something to God. You're doing something substantive and worthwhile. And I think it's something we kind of all want. Now, if you want to be a millionaire, if you wanted to have your kids be pro athletes, if you want to have all of that, you want to have all your bills paid, you want to know the answers to everything. I'm going to tell you, I've learned this as I've gotten older. And as I hit 60 tomorrow, and I'm still grappling with the 60 tomorrow. But I will tell you this. I thought that my parents knew everything when I was growing up, because that's what grown-ups did. I've been a grown-up now going on 60 years. I want to point that out again. And we don't know it. If you thought we did, we don't. we are guessing like everybody else is guessing. We are winging it. Somebody comes along, they're like, you want the door on the right, the door on the left. You're like, well, let me, Lord Jesus, left it is. And he's like, well, there you go, left door. The Lord didn't tell you what door. Do you start down the door? Bro, I had a choice today. The people don't even have choices. So I'm just telling you that we don't know how we navigate life. We just happen to navigate it. You zig and then you zag and you come around the corner and you're like, woo, I missed that. Turn back up and look and smack into something. You're like, well, look at there. I didn't plan that one out. But that's because you can't plan life out. If we could plan life out, don't you know there'd just be nothing but businesses dedicated to plan your life out? In fact, they have it now. That's why all these little courses are. Teach you how to find your thought. We got preachers that come to us. We'll give you the word. It's like, no, you won't. People are just looking for stability. People are looking for certainty. People are looking for certain things. And I'm saying the one thing that we are certain about is that you are here right now. And so the fact that you are here right now, be certain in that. You say, well, it's not the way I want it to be. Hey, don't worry about that. It ain't that way for anybody. I mean, the super rich are trying to get richer. Just take a moment and think about that. And I don't speak bad about the super rich, but can you imagine being so rich that whatever you wanted, you could get? Just think about that. You could you don't have to wait. If I wanted a meal cooked by, I don't know, what's that, Gordon Ramsay and Jamie Oliver working in a tangent, together in a room. And I'm like, and I got $1 million right now that I will pay each of you to cook that meal. I will have that meal. Not because they are servants, but because they are businessmen. And to get $1 million to cook this one fool in America who wants to pay $1 million for a meal, great. So can you imagine that though? I saw a show with something with Michael Jackson one time. He walked into a store, I think it was with Barbara Walters or whatever. And everything he saw, he would just go, this. He would just gesture, this, that. That's all. He would just this, that. And I just thought, look at this house. Big is a huge house. I live in a huge house. But the thing is, ain't but so much you can put in there. And then at a certain point, you're like, we got too much stuff. Let's get rid of this stuff. I can't walk. I can't, and that sofa's in there, and then that's the room there. Those chairs are the white furniture, which we sit on now. But, it's taken me almost 60 years to be able to sit on those sofas. But, my mother has passed away. I don't sit on it. I still don't sit on the couch, though. That's in the room. I'm not messing with that. I'm just saying that just take a moment. Think it through and rest for a minute. Next point. Step out in faith and uncertainty. And at the same time. And the reason I say that is this. Start with Peter. Remember Peter walking on the water with Jesus? Lord, if that be you, bid me to come out. Just full stop right there. Faith and absolute uncertainty. In fact, he was more uncertain than he was faithful. And I'll tell you why I say that. Lord, if that be you. Now, you've been with Jesus for a long time. Who else do you think it's going to be? Who do you know thus far has done anything in existence remotely like walking on water? And he was like, I'm still not sure. My doubts are such that I got to say, Lord, if that's you, bid me come out. Like I can even kind of see you. I see the clothes you wear. I kind of know you walk. People who walk. I know somebody once I was walking downtown years ago. It was my former trial partner. I hadn't seen her in years. And I heard a car pulled up and somebody yelled out my name. And I turned around and she says, I know that walk anywhere. And I was like, that's crazy. But I had friends whose walks I knew. And I was like, I know, I can tell that's you right there. So I'm saying they knew Jesus, but he was uncertain. If it's you, bid me to come out there. Big, huge faith leap. He didn't notice he didn't jump out there. You understand what I'm saying? You're like, Lord, if you tell me to come on out. Then he went out on there and he started sinking. Now, sometimes our questions, though, are just mini declarations of faith. Because although I told you he had more doubt than faith, he had enough faith to question himself. Lord, if that be you, which let me know he had faith at what Jesus can do. Lord, I know you can do this. I'm just not certain this is you. Is this you? But I'm going to step out in faith. Do that. Because you know what's hard? What's easy to do is to step out in certainty. New word, certainty. Not step out in uncertainty. Stepping out in certainty, that's not really faith. When I go to court, I don't stress at all. I might stress about whether we're going to win or not. But other than that, I'm not freaking out. Like, what am I doing in this courtroom? No, I know what I'm doing. I don't. My clients have confidence in me. They don't go to court with me and we're all freaking out. Like, Ms. Clements, what do you think? I will tell you if I think the case is bad. I will say they got a mighty good case against you now. We might want to talk deal. But even when we're talking deal, we're having a conversation amongst us in confidence. You follow what I'm saying? So it's not a fake. He's just hoping I'm guiding him correctly. But I'm saying when you're making life decisions, who's telling you when to step out? I mean, for real, who is telling you what to do? This is a good decision. You're getting input from everybody, but you know what? Nobody has anything on the line like you got it on the line. You know, as they say, like ham and eggs. The chicken is involved, but the pig is committed. You know. So I'm just saying. So, but be prepared to step out in uncertainty. It's okay. I don't know how it's all going to work out. Well, who bid you come out there? It was the Lord. I asked the Lord to open the door. Well, you ask him to open the door. I don't know if this is the door. I don't know if that's the door. And I got some other things. Now, obviously, I'm not saying just jump at every door that opens up. That'd be foolish. But if every decision you make is just one that's comfortable and familiar, then you're really just making the same decision over and over again. It ain't that hard. I'm not saying that that's not a great life. I go from one thing to the next. I just find, okay, it's easy for you. And that may be easy for you. And that may be the life that you are leading. But you also may be leading a life that calls upon you to have to be uncertain and to make some leap. In order to get to the top, baby, you got to leave the ground. You understand what I'm saying? In order to get from the top down here, you got to climb. So sometimes you got to be a little uncertain, but you got to know, I had enough faith to say, Lord, is this you? And I'm trusting that it's you. And I'm trusting you're going to shut doors that shouldn't be shut. Because I'll tell you, doors close. In fact, doors close for us. I speak from personal experience that, how to phrase it this way, that which closed the door was considered in another place and didn't close the door. I'll say it this way. We were trying to buy a house. And when we were trying to buy a house out of South Deshaun, we were about to close. We had done the walkthrough. We done everything. We done everything but the shop. We had our deposit money. We was ready to buy a house. We were going to close it. And they called us up and said, the lender said they don't want to do it because you had some late student loan payments. Now, understand this. I'm like, if you got student loan payments, you're going to have some late student loan payments. That's the nature of student loans. They're supposed to be late. I mean, I'm sorry that I'm saying that, but they're going to be late. That's just life. At least in that part of our life, that's what it was. So that closed. But then probably within a week, maybe 2 weeks, the door opens for us to go to New York for Suzette to get into school. Now we're up there, and then we go. I mean, we're looking around for an apartment. We're living in like a hotel room. It's like they made a student housing, so we got a Kirby. It's really just a hotel room. Just take a hotel room, no kitchen in your room, just a hotel room, and that's where we were living. And downstairs, had a kitchen downstairs. You can go cook in with everybody else that lives in the other hotel rooms, or you can go to the diner. So we were looking for a place, and I mean, we were trying to buy a house or rent a house in Jersey. That fell through. We went up over there. They picked us up from the airport, let us come stay in their house. Because my parents met them they were up there doing ministry. It was all over the shop. Then the husband was like, no, I want to get more money than, they're going to pay us. Now understand, they were about to move into a house. Now sometimes God can shut doors for other people too, because we were going to move into there and it was going to be convenient for Suzette to go to school. It was just convenient and a great switch for people coming from Georgia to New York. However, right before we were doing it, and they had a house. The house that they were going into was so awesome. They were selling it to them with the furniture in there. They literally were like, everything that came in the house, they were buying at a price that they wanted. It was amazing. They were like, everything. The house was everything we wanted with the furniture that we wanted. And they were willing to sell all of that to us. Wonderful. We like your house. We're going to leave all our stuff in Georgia. So we don't mind renting your whole house at, a whole furnished house. We'll keep your stuff in as it needs to be kept. We're good stewards of stuff. Trust and believe. I mean, hey, we'll paint you. We're great stewards of your stuff. But husband drove us to New York, the whole night. Lo and behold, wife calls me up as we're preparing to go to New York and says, my husband wants to get more money for the house than what y'all are going to pay us. So we're going to have to say no. Okay. I'm not mad. Now, am I petty? Maybe. Because they also called and told me later on, they asked me if I wanted the house again. because they couldn't get another buyer for their house. So they ended up losing the house that they were trying to get. And I was like, see? But actually, I wasn't mad at them. I didn't wish them ill will. I just say that, I guess 2 doors needed to close. Now, did one door close because they closed another door? Yes. But we ended up meeting Phyllis. Now, here's the part. I began the story by telling you what closed my door. We go and we interview. We meet Phyllis and her husband, Donald. His last name was Sheriff. We just call him Sheriff. We meet Phyllis, meet Sheriff, and we're talking, and Sheriff is talking to me, and Sheriff is from Jamaica, and he finds out Suzette's from Jamaica, so he's already buzzing on that. Then Suzette's father is a preacher in Jamaica. Oh my God, he's already, hallelujah, literally, hallelujah. He finds out my dad is a preacher, hallelujah, praise it. Oh, Roberts, bless the God. Are y'all married or y'all living together? Oh no, sir, we are married. You are married. That man was shouting. Phyllis called us up. Now, Phyllis is a friend of ours now. I don't understand. I mean no ill will to Phyllis. She's the money person. Phyllis was like, I got to tell y'all, I didn't want to give y'all the house. I didn't want to rent this to y'all because your thing's on your credit. But my husband said, forget your credit. He wants y'all in this apartment. We lived there all those years. Phyllis was a great dear friend of ours, moving here, all of that. I'm saying the door open. You see what I'm saying? So I guess what I'm trying to tell you is God's got you in his hand. Yes. It's gonna work. And as uncertain as we were, because it was a time of uncertainty, because this went from I got a house to I don't got a house to I got a house to I don't got a house to I got a great apartment. In fact, Gina, my sister, came to live with us in that same apartment while she went to law school, and it was convenient to my job, which was what we really needed because Suzette was with her residency in the life, so I could be home in time, and my job, for some reason, wanted me on call way too much. So I was always there, but it worked out. So we were put in the place that was the most convenient with the people that were the most convenient for us for everything we needed. Could it work out everywhere else? It probably could. But all I'm telling you is it worked out amazingly there. I know no other life than that amazing life that I lived. Now, was I living where I wanted to be? I went from house to apartment. That was a move backwards as far as I was concerned, but it actually was a move forward. So I'm just saying, step out in faith on uncertainty. Because I was looking to run for office. I had a lot of stuff. How are we gonna leave? We go here. It was uncertain. And I'm not saying it, do it because I did it. I'm simply saying I'm not telling you to do something I have never done myself. Because people tell you all these things that you can do. That's fantastic. Go out there, fight the lions. Well, have you fought a lion yet? Well, they don't ask me to fight a lion. If you haven't done it, don't be telling me the Lord is gonna speak. No, sir. You pull a Daniel, and then you call me on in there. But I am not, don't be telling me the Lord told you to send me to the lions. No, sir, he did not. But anyhow, but comfortable and familiar, it can be brand new. It can be against all you've ever known. And it's okay to sink a little bit. It's not going to be always, it's not going to go great every time. Sometimes you're going to be sinking. You're like, Lord, I thought this was you, Jesus. And take a moment. He's holding Jesus' hand. He's out there with Jesus and he's still sinking like, Lord. It's like, bro, at this point, So that's what I'm saying. When that uncertainty can come to you when you are right there, literally like, I know the Lord has his hand in this. I know the Lord has bid me come. I know all of this, and yet I am sinking because I'm freaking out. So faith and uncertainty are okay. He said mustard seed faith. He didn't say, a grain, 1 grain of uncertainty will no. Lord, I had enough faith to ask you the question if that was you. Now after that, we're gonna have to ride this one out. Let's see here. Know what your role is and lean into it. And what I mean, and that's important. I wrote a note to myself. You are. Oh yes, here's the point. You are the answer to a prayer. And you got to take a moment and think about that. You really are the answer. Think of the things you prayed for. If you've prayed for future generations, if you've prayed for other people, the things somebody may have said, hey, pray for my mama or myself, it doesn't even matter. Whatever it is that touches upon someone's life, someone has prayed for you in that similar capacity. So you are the living embodiment of the answer to a prayer, a specific prayer, not a general Lord bless them. I'm talking about a specific prayer, whether you've sought it out yourself, whether you said it over yourself, or whether someone has just told you, I was praying for you for this, and you just like, I didn't even know anybody knew I was going through that. You live a life that is the answer to a specific prayer about you and your life. That's where you are in life today. So as you question, and my life's been hard, doors have been shut, people slam doors in my face. I didn't make these things. I can't believe I'm still struggling. I've had a client, she was elderly. She was over 60. I don't know that much. In fact, she was in her 70s. And she said to me, I never thought at this point in my life I'd be here. I remember that look on her face. And you could just see, it was like it broke her. It practically broke me. And I'm like, well, you are here and we are here together. So we'll see what we can do. And ultimately, I got her case. I got the civil lawsuit dismissed. In fact, by the time she got to the highway, I had got it dismissed. I didn't give her no money back, but I'm just saying I did make a phone call and I was like, hey, I was reading through the paperwork and I just happened to see the following. Now, my client only wants a dismissal. I want to be able to file a counterclaim. And I want to tell her what the counterclaim is worth, but my client didn't want to go through it. I didn't tell them that. I was just like, so I'm going to get my client. I think we should be going for it. I really want to call her up and really get her motivated for this. But I knew she wasn't going to do it. They said, hold on, Kirby. Let me call you back. Hung up the phone. I think I got an email or a fax, one of them things, something. Case dismissed. They're like, yeah, in the interim, yeah, we just dismissed your case. You ain't got time to file a counterclaim. We're done. My point being, and she was elated. And when it first came in the door, I was like, oh, we can make some money on this case. But she was like, you don't understand. I just want peace. And I'm like, you just want peace? I'm gonna get you peace. I mean, I could get you. I could get you more than peace. I get you some money, which will get us all some money. But she's like, I just want peace. And I'm like, I gotta respect that. But my point is, she was somewhere she never thought she'd be, but she had prayed. She said, I was just praying to the Lord over the Lord. I just found you. And I'm like, that wasn't even a major, it still has never been a major area. I'm thinking it's a major area of my practice now, but it was not a major area of my practice. But despite it not being a major area of my practice, it was an area of my practice that someone in need got me to learn enough of to help this person. That's all I'm saying to you. Look at Isaiah 40 verses 3 through 5, Malachi 3 verses 1, Matthew 3, 1 through 2. All talking about John the Baptist. What was John the Baptist's role? He was to declare, prepare the way where Jesus is coming. But John was not like everybody else. You know what I'm saying? John, as near as I have gleaned from reading the scriptures about John, he was a little wild. I had a client who passed away, who I would imagine is very much like a John the Baptist kind of guy. Could they be in your face? Absolutely. Did they want to be in your face? More than anything. I mean, that was this guy. He's like, I'm a warrior for the Lord, and I'm out here declaring it. And that was him. And like I've watched him give away hundreds of thousands of dollars to help I gave him an apartment building. I'm like, that kind of thing. I've watched him do that kind of stuff. And so I like to think I've met a John the Baptist type person, but he leaned into his role. Some of us don't lean into our role. We're not accidentally in our strengths and things. If God has placed you somewhere to do something, lean into that boldly. Just period. This is what I do. I am here not of my own strength, not of my own volition. I'm at this point in life. We have met each other today because God ordained for me to be here because of who I am and how I am. That's just the reality that you got to lean into. Are you preparing the way for somebody? What are you doing in life? What is your role? Is your role to nurture? Lean into nurturing. Is your role to antagonize? Antagonize. Is your role to comfort? Comfort. Whatever your role is, even if it's I'm just in a support role. Some people, I don't want to be out front. That's just not what I do, but I love doing this. Lean into that. Lean into it, because you're going to find that what you won't have is a midlife crisis on doing the stuff that you lean into, that you want to do. I've yet to have somebody tell me, I love doing this, but I can't believe I wasted my time doing this. It's like, man, you know what? I've heard people say, it may not pay a lot of money, but I love it. And there's a difference. You can see somebody who got happiness in their face, and you see somebody who's got heartache in their face. And I'm just telling you, you'd rather be happy than have heartache. And don't give yourself heartache by thinking you're not where you should be. Let me say this. I like to say when I was talking to somebody about trying a case. I'm sorry, here's what I have. You were foretold of as well. And remember, I told you that somebody prayed for you. You were foretold of as well. Whether somebody says the Lord's going to give you friends, and you happen to be that friend that the Lord gave you. The Lord's going to give you a helpmeet. You happen to be the helpmeet. You are that. Lean into those roles. You got to lean into all of it. Whatever it happens to be, lean into it. Now, you might be the one sometimes who fixes that which is messed up in people's lives. In this context, you might be the best version of a Christian that somebody ever meets. I've seen people who've turned away from the Lord because of the stuff. I mean, I've listened to them talk. I mean, I listen to atheists, I listen to everybody. I really do listen to anything. I'm inherently curious. Or it's atheists, one of the two. I don't know. But I'm just saying, I'm inherently curious. But I listened to some people talk about and everyone that left the church had a complaint. And the complaint pretty much went down to how people didn't live the way that what they talked about. They didn't live the way that they preached about. They didn't live, and they came up with rules. And I'm like, wow, that's deep. So when somebody says, man, I didn't know you was a Christian, people go, oh, see, that means you weren't living right, Kirby. I'm like, no, it means I was living just fine. Because the way they identified Christians was judgmental. Now, I will judge you. It was judgmental, angry, backstabbing, double standard holding people. And so I'm not living that way. And they're like, well, how you're not trashing people for their failures. No, I'm not. You're not demanding that I adhere to your value. No, you can live however you want to live, man. I literally do you. I'm going to do me. We both letting our light shine. You know what I'm saying? And as a result of that, they go, you know what? I got to rethink Christianity. I got to rethink Christians. Yeah, you do, because you met me. And I'm not like the ones you other. And that's the same for all of you. Same for everybody listening to me. You may be the first, the best, the only. And you may undo some things and make people begin to question and say, you know what? Maybe what I was following was people who were following their version of Jesus as opposed to people who were following Jesus. You understand? Because we have a mindset of what Jesus is like, and then there's what Jesus was like. Is you call me to do this, it's like, well, it's just a point of you got the made up Jesus in your head that is Jesus-esque. Well, Jesus is really judgmental. Jesus don't like this. Because I think when I hear people talk, I'm like, they're very much in fact, Jesus strongly resembles their politics, which often tickles me. No matter whether it's left or right, I'm being real on that one. But Jesus was a socialist. Jesus was a this. And I'm like, I feel like he was none of those. But King of Kings, Lord of Lords, I didn't really get, political party. Yes, but you look at you trying to marry things that can't be married together. And I'm somebody who, when I walk out there and I meet people, I want to make certain that at least the version of Jesus that I believe exists is not the one that's tied to a political party. So you're gonna meet somebody who's different. Does that mean I got to support everything? No. Does it mean I got to oppose everything? Absolutely not. But I have to be a better version and lean into that. I can be more John the Baptist. Now, I'm not a John the Baptist type, by the way. Don't ever think that about me. I am not that guy. We can debate and discuss it, whatever, and I'm fine with that. You don't disagree. I'm like, as long as you're not gonna take it personal, we cool. Let's go. I mean, because I get down that way. I'm not trying to hurt your feelings, but they might get hurt. But I'm not trying to. And you can show somebody else how to survive and how to thrive as well, because you have a life story. You have a testimony about your life that doors that God has opened for you. And that's a huge thing, because it's one thing when people can tell you the glorified version of the testimony. It's another thing when somebody can just say, hey, man, I ain't got to tell you my whole story, but I heard you said something in there that I can just tell you something similar happened to me one time. I ain't got to tell you my whole story, but on that one point, let me say this. I mean, and you take it for what it's worth. I'm not trying to convince you otherwise, because sometimes trying to convince you, I become the enemy, because people a lot of times want to hold on to their pain. I want my pain so much, I'll fight you for telling me I shouldn't have it. It says, you know what? You're entitled to all of your pain that you want to have. I'm not even here to argue with you about it. I'm just here to tell you, I was once in a painful spot, and I'm going to tell you what happened and how things worked out. Now, I don't say they'll work out for you the same way. I'm just simply saying where you are right now, don't give up hope. Because, and this is the thing about the new year, hope is the thing. I mentioned this yesterday, or Christmas Day, we were talking. Hope is an amazing thing because that's something we all need. And the beauty about hope is somebody, people, the cynic in me goes, but suppose you never achieve the thing that you hope for. The reality is you won't know. I mean, I'm just being honest. You're hoping, then you're gone. You see what I'm saying? I mean, that seems kind of harsh to say, but hope. If there's a hope for, if I told you tomorrow's going to be a better day, like I assure you, there's opportunities for tomorrow to be life changing. Like, well, okay, I'm kind of looking. Even if you're like, man, I don't believe that, you still gonna be looking forward to tomorrow just a little bit, and just that little bit of hope is all we need. So when you sit there and you say, I am not where I wanted to be at this point in my life today, thought I'd be farther along, thought I'd be making different decisions, thought I'd be doing all kind of different things. Remember when in like Matthew 24, when Jesus was talking about the end times and wars and rumors of wars and all the other things, he never once said give up hope. He never once said, and so y'all should really give up hope. You understand what I'm saying? He was telling you how bad it was going to be. So life is going to be difficult. But despite all that difficulty, you got to keep hope, because just a little bit of hope. Like, I just hope it's going to be different. Then, because I know what it's like to be in a position where you like, I don't even want to have hope, because that just means I can be disappointed tomorrow. Well, don't have hope for a specific thing. I just got hope it's going to be better. I got hope it's going to be different. Just start little small spots. But understand that, as we enter a new year, the New Year's resolution should be, I don't need to resolve to change me in terms of outward things. I just need to make sure that I got my mind right. I'm just getting my whatever thoughts that did not benefit me. Because you also got to look at the year and kind of think, how do you think the year was going to go? You know what I'm saying? Like in the resolutions and all the stuff that you thought at the beginning of the year, like, I don't want this and this is going to change and all that, because and whatever you thought. But then you kind of look at where you are in the year, you kind of go, all right, it's all right. I wish this were different. I wish that was different, but then who doesn't? So you can't complain about the ordinariness of your condition, because it is the ordinariness of your condition. But don't be afraid to leap out in faith and uncertainty, because I think that was a wild ride. Try it one time. Try it sometime. Anyhow, that's that. Don't have a midlife crisis. Don't freak out. Have hope. Have faith. And if you are freaking out, then pledge to yourself that you'll freak out just a little bit less than you freaked out today. That is all I have to say. Y'all have a good day. Happy New Year to you. I'm almost 60.